The great capacity to fool oneself. In this sense, that there's nothing else to do, I know I'm consciousness itself. Mm-hmm. There really is nothing else to do in terms of consciousness itself. And it's true, action and your behavior will change if you pay attention to it. A lot of times what happens is there happens justification and a kind of the mind returns and says, oh, I'm awake, so it's all good.
A dismissal.
A dismissal and a dishonesty about how difficult one's life is. So this is why in Waking Down so much of it is about, yeah, you're awake and you're human, and as a human you feel limitations, and being honest about those limitations. Not so much that you stay embedded in the limits that you feel yourself in, but they have their due. They have their day in court. They need to be seen and felt and witnessed. They need to be acknowledged, and acknowledged even by other human beings, in order for the energy and attention that is trapped as those feelings to be released. So the larger sense of yourself, the sense of free being, non-separateness, becomes more pronounced, ironically, through allowing yourself to feel the smallest aspects of you. So you go back and reclaim, leave no child left behind. No child left behind. No inner child.
Down can help, right?
Yes, no inner child left behind. But it's true. I mean, when we awaken, we think, okay, now I will be. Now when I say awaken, of course, it depends what you mean, because this definition of awakening wouldn't stand muster by the Buddha, or maybe it would. Who can say? The point is that, it's possible. You can make the argument that the Buddha would say, unless all of your behavior actually manifests and shows up as unconditional compassion, then there's still an inherent sense of self there. And he'd be absolutely right. And so, is that awakening or not? I mean, and this has happened within Buddhism itself. It's not just that we're redefining awakening outside of Buddhism. Within Buddhism itself, there's been this discussion for a long time. I mean, the idea of a bodhisattva being first level, second level, third level, and then, is a bodhisattva awake? Not quite, but some bodhisattvas are. And they have it all outlined, different sutras. But a lot of this has been, tussled with.
Your thousand-leg caterpillar illustration.
Yeah.
One leg over is a glimpse, or whatever you want to call it. It kind of doesn't matter. But I hear what you're saying.
Yes.
There's certainly more awakening or embodying the awakening.
Yeah. Yeah. From my perspective, embodiment basically is what's necessary for the body and the human life to not be a hindrance to abiding as consciousness. Because when you fully abide as consciousness in an integrated way, there's no difference between the body and consciousness. There's no difference between the human and the divine at all. At all. That doesn't mean that you just go wash your hands of the divine and say, oh yeah, my human nature, that is the divine. It's not that way either. Mm-hmm. It's that the flow that is the human nature is inseparable from the flow that is consciousness. The sense of effortless happening. So that whatever feelings you have, they're not your feelings, they're the feelings of the universe through you. You're not separate from the whole. The whole is living through you. The whole is living as you. So there's no distinction between you and the whole. The totality, the all. And that is, that's when all of your energy is you could say, that's when there's no resistance in the flow of the energetic bodies to what is. That doesn't happen easily. That doesn't happen simply through recognition of consciousness. It's sort of like, this is... This is being present to what is moment by moment, and being it moment by moment. Simply being the watcher of the body is not enough. Being the sensations that make up the body, being the sensations that make up, that are arising, being what's arising, that lubricates. And it unravels over time. It seems to unravel over time. And you could say the spiritual path, as an unfolding, as an unraveling, continues after awakening. It's like a journey. It's an unfolding where there's a holding on to an identity based in separation. There's pain unless that's acknowledged, seen, lived, and gone beyond through claiming it, through being it, through feeling it. And, there's a poignancy in that. There's a self-compassion in that. And the limits of what can be gotten there have to be felt into. And then there's a surrender. And the surrender can be into doing it, to fulfilling it. But no matter what, the surrender always ends up being beyond whatever the desire is, because it's never enough. It's never enough. But it doesn't. But you watch it, see, because you notice there's a grasping, and it wants to. And you watch that whole process. You just keep watching it. You just keep noticing. There's no. It's sort of like there's no. If you can let go of it, great. But it's not. It's not all that easy. Mm-hmm. It's like there's a fire after a while. There's a fire, and that fire, that is the tapas. That is as much of a discipline as it was to do the whole stage up to consciousness. This descent into the human is as much a discipline. You don't have to just believe your guru that eventually you will abide as consciousness itself, free. You have had tasted yourself as consciousness free. In fact, you have consciousness itself as freedom, and you're also aware that you have these human feelings, limitations, senses that are needing to be transformed in the fire. So it's a both and. It's more akin to Tantra.